The question brought to the text this night is simple and ancient. YHWH, recover for us the meaning of the word Selah. And the first verse drawn, Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 3, does not answer the question. It names the wound. Because the customs of the people are vain, for one cuts down a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the artisan, with the axe. The axe falls first. Before any meaning is restored, the Father names what buried it. The customs of the people. The traditions layered over a living priestly word until it became a thing no one could define. 71 times in the Psalms, 3 times in Habakkuk, and still the meaning stands veiled. The vain custom must be cut before the living word can breathe. And the draw answers. The triple convergence of identity, inheritance, and priesthood fires at over 10 times the baseline rate, at 6 6/10 sigma, discover a level. The guided draw E-value falls at 5 times 10 to the minus 14th. All 6 channels of convergence are active. The polarity reads affirmative. The Father is not withholding. He is giving. The verdict is yes. Now hear what the text gives. The draw returns 11 verses from the Psalms, the very book where Selah lives. Among them, Psalm 107, verse 8, which in the Hebrew text is the very declaration upon which the Selah marker falls. Oh, that people would praise YHWH for his goodness, and for his wonderful works to the children of mankind. The praise rises, and then the music stops. The congregation stands in the weight of what was just said. Selah is not an afterthought. It is the praise's own culmination, the moment the words become too heavy to continue and the body must stop and let the glory press down. Psalm 63, verse 4, gives the bodily action. So will I bless you while I live, I will lift up my hands in your name. The hands go up. One of the oldest proposed roots of Selah connects it to the Hebrew for lifting up. The liturgical gesture is plain. Selah is the moment the palms open and the arms rise and the worshipper lifts the name with uplifted hands. But the draw does not stop at lifting. Enoch chapter 60, verse 16, speaks of the thunder. For the thunder has places of rest which are assigned to it while it is waiting for its peal, and the thunder and lightning are inseparable, and although not one and undivided, they both go together through the Spirit and separate not. The thunder has assigned places of rest. It waits. The silence between the peals is not the absence of sound. It is the holy interval where the last stroke has fallen and the next has not yet come, and the hearer stands trembling in the gap. This is Selah. Not emptiness. Assigned rest. Commanded stillness woven into the song. Joshua chapter 10, verse 13, gives the cosmic form. And the sun stood still and the moon stood still, until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Creation itself observes a Selah. The great lights halt their courses and wait while the work of YHWH is accomplished. Selah is the standing still of all things before the acts of the Creator. In Acts chapter 11, verse 18, the apostles heard what Elohim had done among the nations, and the text says, they were silent and were glorifying Elohim. The silence was not emptiness. It was the space in which the glorifying happened. Selah is the silence that contains worship, not the silence that replaces it. Now the third thread. Ezekiel chapter 43, verse 13, the measurements of the altar. The cubit is a cubit and a hand width, even the bottom will be a cubit, and the width a cubit, and the border by the edge all around will be a span. If Selah carries the sense of weighing, then it is a priestly act, the moment when what has been declared is weighed against the standard of the altar. Leviticus chapter 13, verses 7 and 8, he will be seen of the priest again. The second look. The deeper examination. Selah is the space for the priest to weigh what he has heard before he pronounces. The draw sets all 3 threads within their native habitat. Ecclesiastes chapter 2, verse 8, I obtained male and female singers, and the delights of the sons of men, as musical instruments, and that of all sorts. Selah lives here, in the sound world of the Levitical choir, between the voice and the string, in the breath between the cymbal's crash and the next measure. Numbers chapter 9, verse 3, grounds it in ordinance. On the 14th day of this month at sunset you will observe it in its appointed season according to all the statutes regarding it, and according to all the ordinances involved with it you will celebrate it. Selah is not an improvisation. It is prescribed. A commanded pause woven into the song by the same authority that set the courses of the priests and the measurements of the altar. But how was the meaning lost? Psalm 79, verse 1. O Elohim, the nations are come into your covenant inheritance. Your holy temple have they defiled, they have laid Jerusalem on heaps. The temple fell. 1 Chronicles chapter 6, verse 15. And Jehozadak went into captivity, when YHWH carried away Judah and Jerusalem by the hand of Nebuchadnezzar. The last high priest went into exile, and with him went the living knowledge of what Selah meant in the mouth of the singer, in the pause between the courses. The word survived in the text. The practice did not. Yet Deuteronomy chapter 29, verse 6, frames the silence with purpose. You have not eaten bread, neither have you drank wine or strong drink, so that you might know that I am YHWH Elohim. So that you might know. The exile of the word's living sense was not purposeless. The recovery, when it came, would come not from the artisan's hand but from the hand of YHWH. And the recovery comes through loss. Matthew chapter 10, verse 39, He that comes upon his life will render it useless, and he that destroys his life for my sake will find it. The finding is through the destroying. The meaning is recovered not by adding speculation but by cutting away the work of the artisan's hands until the original priestly function stands bare. Zechariah chapter 8, verse 13, near the close of the drawer, holds the promise. So will I save you, and you will be a sacred blessing. Fear not, but let your hands be strong. The hands that were feeble become strong. The people who were a curse become a sacred blessing. And Psalm 34, verse 22, seals it. YHWH ransoms the lives of his slaves, and none of them that covenant trust in him will be incriminated. The pause in which the ransom is received and the trusting heart is found not incriminated but accepted. So what is the Father saying? The verdict is yes, at 99.6%. The meaning is being recovered. The drawer does not hand you a single dictionary definition. It weaves 3 threads into one priestly action. Selah is the lifting up of hands in the name. Selah is the assigned rest between the thunder's peals. Selah is the weighing of what has been declared against the standard of the altar. It is all 3 at once, because it is not a word to be defined. It is an act to be performed. The priestly moment when the song stops, the hands rise, the silence holds the weight of the glory, and the blessing ascends that does not pass away. The word that was lost teaches us, in its very recovery, to do what it always said. Stop. Lift up. Weigh. And let the thunder wait for its peal. Selah. The verses drawn in this Shield 17.14 session were Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 3. Luke chapter 24, verse 53. 1 Timothy chapter 3, verse 16. Ezra chapter 7, verse 17. 1 Samuel chapter 8, verse 13. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 20. This concludes today's interpretation under the Shield Protocol.